Hey, I originally forgot to record an intro for this video, so this is it. This is a Skyrim skills tier list video. I'm going to go through every skill, we're going to rank them pound for pound, each skill on its own. And then at the end I'm going to look at some specific builds, so you can see how much it changes depending on what kind of character you want to make. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for clicking, by the way. I know this video probably has basically no views when you've clicked it. So thank you very much for clicking, hope you enjoy. Thanks. Alchemy is first on the list, and it's a great place for it to be because alchemy is S tier. Alchemy is the most overpowered skill in the game. It's very easy to do early on and to level up. It has tons of benefits, and the thing that makes it the most overpowered skill is the fact that through alchemy you can increase your ability at all of the other skills. You can make potions targeted at every single other skill on this list with alchemy. So in that sense, it's really overpowered. You can make lots of money through alchemy. It's probably the best way to make money, especially early in the game. It's the best way to restore your health. It's, the fastest, most effective in comparison to restoration magic, which takes time and magicka in-game to use. With a potion, you can be on 1 health. If you hit the menu and take enough potions, then you're going to be healed. You can make poisons. You can also deal damage through alchemy. So it's incredibly versatile. It makes you rich. It makes you more powerful as a character. Alchemy is definitely the most overpowered skill in the game, and it's not even close really. So alchemy is a definite S tier skill in Skyrim, and if you're struggling at Skyrim, it's probably because you're not using alchemy properly. Once you incorporate alchemy into your game in Skyrim, the game becomes easier. Literally, it is a skill that is just about buffing your character essentially. So alchemy is S tier, and yeah, it's pretty much undebatable. It's factually the best skill. So alchemy belongs in S tier. That's no problem. Cool. Okay, next up we have alteration. Alteration is a class of magic that you probably know from spells like Oak Flesh, Stone Flesh. Maybe you know Transmute Ore. I think Candlelight is also Alteration. Alteration is like a utility class of magic basically, and I'm going to put it in B tier. It goes in B tier and not A or C because it has a lot of utility. The skill tree is also, it's a good skill tree. It has some perks in there which are pretty nice, like magic resistance. It also has the Atronak perk, which gives you a 30% chance of absorbing 100% of a spell. It's written weird in the actual game. When you look at the skill tree, it just says like 30% chance to absorb spells or something like this. It's actually a 30% chance to absorb all of a spell, which also recharges your magicka. So alteration, it has a powerful skill tree. It's pretty useful. It's pretty versatile as well, but it's not outstanding at anything. Like, there's not one major benefit of alteration where you go, you absolutely have to have this. At the same time, it's a really useful skill tree that can help improve a lot of other types of character builds. So alteration, I'm putting it as B. I think that's where it deserves to go. It's not an A skill where you're like, you can do an entire alteration playthrough. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do an entire alteration playthrough. Probably you can do it, but it's not exactly the most enticing thing to do. So alteration is B, definitely a really useful skill. Probably doesn't get used as much as it should by a lot of people, but you should look into it. If you haven't used alteration before, check it out. Okay, next up is archery. This one I might get some crap about, but I'm putting archery in A, not S. I think a lot of people will put this in S, but I think archery on its own is A tier. It definitely becomes S tier when it's combined with other skills, but on its own, it's an A tier skill. You can do ranged combat, that's the primary use, ranged combat. Usually, people being stealth archers, creeping around the place, taking people out. It can do a little bit of melee combat as well. You can bash with your bow. You can still, shoot people with bows up close. If you have the space. So it's a really good combat skill. The skill tree, it's okay. Like the skill tree is pretty good. It makes your archery stronger, obviously, which covers like bows and crossbows. The extra skills though, like slowing down time or zooming in, they're not exactly essential, and they don't really play into anything else. So for me, it's an A tier. You can play without archery. That's why it's not S for me. I think you can play through Skyrim. You can do a bit of archery when a dragon shows up. The rest of the time, it's not really essential. So it's A, not S for that reason. Alchemy, I think is essential. I think if you're not playing with alchemy, you're either like super new or you're at the far end of the spectrum and you're trying to make it as hard as possible for yourself. So archery, we like it. It's definitely A tier. On its own, it's not as overpowered as people might want to say. In combination with other skills, it can feel like an S tier skill. The other side of it though is that you can literally, apart from when dragons show up, the entire rest of the time you don't ever need to do archery. So it loses some points there. It's an A tier skill. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna leave it there. I hope people understand that reasoning. Obviously it can be super powerful. You can also play without it though. So for that reason, I'm making it A, not S. Please don't turn off the video just because of that. We're only 3 skills in. Okay, next up we have got block. Block I'm gonna put into C. Block is a niche skill. You maybe use it with certain builds, but for a lot of other builds, it doesn't even really exist as something you think about. The skill tree is okay. Like, I don't hate the skill tree. I think the skill tree, it's pretty good. I remember back in the day when I still played with a shield, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty sweet. But carrying a shield is kind of the main drawback to this. You can do like two-handed weapons, they can block as well, not as well as a shield. So it'll take you longer to level and will be less effective, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's a niche skill. If you love playing with a shield, that's totally fine. Shields work perfectly. There's no issue with shields in the game. But yeah, honestly, they don't really fit into the thinking for a lot of builds. And it's not like it's, you don't miss out by not looking at at blocking either. Shield, it's blocking. You don't have to block. You can play an entire playthrough and not block one time. You won't even notice. So that's why block goes in C. It's a valid skill, but it's a niche skill. I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm just saying it's nowhere near. It's not as useful as the other skills. Alteration and block are like, alteration is kind of like the magical equivalent of block in certain cases. Like, you can use it to avoid damage. Alteration, you don't have to carry a shield around the place, which can be super cumbersome. It doesn't work for any kind of stealth build, and even a lot of warrior builds don't carry shields. So block, it's in C. If you love block, go for it. But if you're looking for a super powered character, yeah, there are better options. There's stuff that you can invest into which are going to give you better options than block. So for me, block is a solid C because it's niche, not because it like absolutely sucks or anything. If they expanded it a bit more, like if blocking was more extensive, it could easily be up in B or like even A maybe. But for the way we got blocking in Skyrim, I'm gonna say it's C. That's I think that's a pretty fair ranking, so let's leave it there. Next up we have Conjuration. Conjuration I'm putting straight into A. So with Conjuration, there are three main benefits of Conjuration. One is bound weapons. So bound weapons, you have three options: bound sword, bound bow, and bound battle axe. These are weightless weapons that are pretty good that you can cast magically. That's a pretty cool aspect of the Conjuration school. For that reason, it instantly kind of becomes a valid skill. The other two aspects of it that you can't ignore are to do with soul gems. So charging up soul gems through those bound weapons, I mean, that's possible, which is one of the coolest combinations of perks in the game. You know, you get your bound weapons and then you get the perk to make them cast soul trap. That means that you don't have to cast soul trap, you don't have to carry a weapon that casts soul trap. You just conjure, you know, your bound sword, whatever, go to work, and the soul trap gets done, that's perfect. It's honestly great. And then the third aspect of it is summons and reviving, necromancy. So getting to have an extra target with you during combat, which is what it is early on with the Conjure Familiar spell and even the Conjure Flame Atronach spell to a certain degree. Like, the main benefit of those spells is just the fact that there's something distracting your enemy, so you're not taking 100% of their attention and their damage. But once you get into the higher level conjuration spells, like the Summon Dremora Lord, those spells super powerful. If you haven't summoned the Dremora Lord ever, they're fantastic. They're these weird dudes, they show up, they go crazy against everything, they say weird stuff, and then they leave. It's perfect, you would love it. So that's fantastic, it's really worthwhile. So Conjuration is a triple threat. I think that's the thing that people need to realize. Bound weapons, which are weightless, very effective weapons. The bound bow actually is like the second best or the second fastest shooting bow in the game after Zephyr, so that's fantastic. You can soul trap with your bound weapons, that's fantastic. And then we're summoning help in combat, and like at the higher levels, like fantastic help. Like the Dremora Lord is like the gold standard, that guy is amazing. You've got crazier stuff than him. You've got Ash Guardians, you've got what are those other things? You know, you've got Ash Guardians, you've got like the Elemental Atronach, is that what it's called? The Storm one? Those things just do carnage, like they will tank for you like nothing else. So, Conjuration, it's a triple threat, it's A. Next up we have Destruction. So, Destruction magic is the only purely combat form of magic, and you'd kind of hope that it would be S. But honestly, in Skyrim, the Destruction magic is B. It does its job. Like, you can do a lot of damage with Destruction magic, especially if you really know what you're doing with, like with flames, for example, like getting burn damage, getting those extra damage points. You can do a lot of damage really quickly to certain enemies with Destruction magic. But the tree overall is a bit weird. How the spells develop is a bit weird. Essentially, it's not that good in the beginning. It gets really good in the middle, but at the master level, it sort of underwhelms. Like when you get to the, what would they be? The adept level spells, like you're thinking like, oh, I'm probably going to be like a Super Saiyan by the end of this. Like I'm just going to be blowing stuff up. but it's not exactly that. Like, they nerfed destruction magic essentially, you know? They stopped it from being too powerful. The master level skills are basically the entry level skills with, some buffs. They are more powerful, but it kind of it underwhelms, and it can be, if you're playing the destruction mage, you're going to invest fully into the tree. The tree is enormous. There are tons. There's like that tree will eat up so many perk points. It's unbelievable. And what you get out of it is nerfed essentially. So destruction magic, you can play, and destruction magic can be your main form of combat, but it's actually usually going to be lagging behind what you could achieve with weapons, which is kind of weird if you think about it. But we're going to put destruction into B. That's just where it goes. We wish it was A or S. We really wish it wasn't. It's kind of fine for what it is, because I can speak for myself, we mightn't even look at any of these other skills if destruction magic was, OP. But they nerfed it. That's all I have to say. They nerfed it. I like it. They nerfed it. It has to be B. You can't rate it higher than that, because once you get to the end of the progression of the skill tree, it's like, oh no, like, this is a huge investment for like slightly improved versions of what you had in the beginning, not something that's going to blow your hair off, you know what I mean? So destruction, it's B. We'll see. Elder Scrolls 6 Sentinel, give us one crazy destruction skill, please. That's my wish for that game. I love it for Skyrim. You have to plan around destruction magic if you plan to use it, because you're going to have to enchant your gear to make sure that your magicka doesn't run out, so you can do all the destruction magic. So it also takes, as I said, it takes a ton of skill points. So destruction magic is nerfed. It takes a ton of investment. You have to plan around it. So lacks versatility. Let's put it that way. It really lacks versatility. A bit more versatility, it's immediately going up, but it didn't make it. That's destruction magic. Alright, next up we have enchanting. And enchanting is gonna go into A. So enchanting, I'm gonna rearrange this a little bit. Enchanting might be the second best skill after alchemy. Alchemy and enchanting together are by far the most powerful combination within the game. The reason I'm putting enchanting at A instead of S is because with enchanting, the skill takes a lot of investment in the beginning to make it actually worthwhile. So your entry level enchanting is going to be like, it's borderline pointless. You're going to go to the enchanting table. So with enchanting, you're going to go up to the enchanting table. You're going to take your favorite helmet. You want to enchant it so that it makes your magicka regenerate faster. And the table is going to tell you that you can use your soul gem and your helmet, and you can cast an enchantment that will make your helmet regenerate magicka 1% faster. Okay? That's really, really sickening in the beginning as a return for you to get invested in a skill. Compared to alchemy, where you're going to rock up, you can rock up to an alchemy table level 1 and make a potion that you can sell for 500 gold, or that can turn you invisible or help you to breathe underwater, and it will do the job. That 1% enchantment is utterly pointless. And you basically need to get your enchanting to about level 40 before it begins to have any kind of impact. For that reason, I'm putting it A and not S. There's more of a grind in the beginning, so it's not as powerful as alchemy. That's the reason. Having said that, enchanting, the top level skill for enchanting is that you can put 2 enchantments on any item. And that might be the single most powerful perk in all of the trees. Once you have gear that has double enchantments, you can pretty much start becoming Tony Stark. Like you can be Iron Man walking around in Skyrim wearing a suit of armor that is like literally unbeatable. So in that sense, enchanting, it's super strong. The high levels of enchanting, super strong. The starting levels, almost a waste of time. Probably why a lot of people don't get into enchanting is why do I want a 1% enchantment on any of my gear? So that's that really. There's not much else to say about enchanting. It is super high, it's super powerful. Probably the second most powerful skill in the game. It's not S because alchemy is still more powerful than enchanting. Okay, next up we're on to the first armor. We have two armors we can choose between: heavy armor, or we can choose light armor. That's lockpicking. We can choose light armor. Heavy armor I'm going to put into category B. Heavy armor is not as good as light armor. And I know that sounds contradictory, but it is actually true. Heavy armor seems like an obvious choice in the early game because it's more protection and you want to survive and play the game. The fact is though is that as you play through, the light armor skill tree is better. It basically does the same job, and once you take, enchanting, alchemy into account, there are ways to make your light armor as powerful as your heavy armor with a better skill tree and the added benefit of it being lighter, which means that you get more carry weight and you move faster and you're quieter, so it enhances your stealth. Light armor just has a number of advantages over heavy armor when put head to head. If you're playing as an orc tank, you are of course going to definitely, pick heavy armor. But in this ranking, we're going toe to toe with all of these skills. Heavy armor is B. It's middle of the road. It's good, it does the job, but there's a better alternative. So we can't make it A. And it's not close to S. The heavy armor skill tree, some people like it, some people aren't so crazy about it. I personally at this point, I don't pay that much attention to it. There's a max armor rating in Skyrim. I don't know if most people know this. The most armor you can have is limited to, I think it's 567 is the number, 567. Above that, it's just vanity, the number, it's just made up basically. So heavy armor, it's good. It's good, but it's not outstanding. That's basically the summary for heavy armor. The thing with the armor, and this is this is something that people don't want to admit, but it's 100% true. Most of your armor choices are aesthetic. It's just about how cool you look. And I mean, I put my hands up right now. The heavy armor, it for a lot of cases, is so much cooler looking than the light armor. Look at the orc armor. Look at the helmet for the orc armor, and it's got that weird ponytail thing on the top. That is the coolest fucking thing. That's easily the coolest piece of armor. You can't tell me otherwise. It's an aesthetic choice, really, at the end of the day with the armors. I'm trying to be objective here and give you, this is the actual rating. So, heavy armor is B. If you feel like it's A or S, if you just want to look fucking cool, if that's, that could be just as important as anything else. It's A or it's even S tier. I prefer the heavy armors, so I just rock with them. But I don't invest as much into the skill tree. That's how I offset it most of the time. But yeah, totally honest on the armor. It entirely comes down to how the armor looks. I like the way the heavy armor looks. I think it's more badass a lot of the time. So, but I have to be fair here. I'm putting it B. B is where it's gonna stay for now. Okay, the next one up is interesting. It's illusion magic. So illusion magic, it's going in C. Illusion magic is the block of the magic class. It's a niche interest. You have to invest a lot into it for it to become worth it as a skill. And one of the like super unfortunate drawbacks for illusion magic is that even early on, it can just be ineffective. So depending on your level, the level of the creatures or enemies you come up against, you can cast your illusion magic. It will use up your magicka, but like someone might just go, yeah, no, that doesn't work. And like it definitely doesn't work against dragons, right? So it's niche. This is really like very low on versatility. The utility can also be questionable. Like sometimes it actually just does not work, which is kind of crazy. The skill tree is okay. It's a middle of the road skill tree. It has some cool stuff in it. But if you're going down the illusion pathway, it really has to be like a core part of your playthrough, I feel like. Otherwise, it's right there with block as a skill. You may not even use like one illusion spell the entire time for like an entire playthrough. It could be that irrelevant, unfortunately. Again, like we're getting a bit more into the aesthetics argument. In terms of the aesthetics, illusion magic is badass. Like this stuff, if we're going on aesthetics, this is S tier. So crazy. Easily the most evil type of magic. Like you're doing mind control essentially. Very cool stuff. If you're someone who rocks illusion magic as a main on like one of your playthroughs, big salute to you, hats off. Very funny, cool, evil stuff, and I like it. But it's a niche skill. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you have to go deep for it to be worth. So it's going to be in C. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I think that's where it has to go. And like the problem is that like most build types require 0 illusion. Again, very cool, but just not as much use as some of these other skills for me. I'm going to put it in C. Okay, next up, something we already spoke about. It's going into A tier above its cousin in B tier, which is heavy armor. Light armor is A. Objectively, the better choice for your armor, more positives, a better skill tree, pretty much. You get to wear some armor so you don't get beaten up all the time in the game. But yeah, this is like purely for me in a mathematical sense. Some of the light armors look cool, and that's what I'm really like. That's what I've landed on, is that armor is it's an aesthetic thing. It does not matter that much. Some of them look cool. I don't think they personally look as cool always as the heavy armor, but light armor works with most builds. If you're doing any kind of thief or mage build, you're going to go to the light armor. And even some warrior type builds, you might say, yeah, let's rock a light armor. Like if you look at like the old school character builds for like Morrowind or maybe even Oblivion. I don't know. I haven't played any of those games in a really long time. But you have the Barbarian class. And the Barbarian class is a warrior class, but they actually rock the light armor. Like Forsworn in Skyrim basically. Or the bandits, like all the bandits rock light armor. It's more versatile. It's more versatile than the heavy armor. It's gonna go in A. Yeah. I don't see anything, it could even go in B, to be honest. We could just say the two of these are level. But we're trying to give the pound for pound ranking here. This is toe to toe which are the best skills. So if you need to make a decision, go light armor over heavy armor if you want to like min-max your character as much as possible. Light armor is the choice. And again, unless you decide to make an aesthetic change, like if midway through the playthrough your character just like, I'm becoming a different dude, like that can happen. Don't overinvest into your armor is my main piece of advice. Like those extra perks about like you don't feel stagger or like the weightless thing. It's really cool, but it's nowhere near essential, and there are other ways to deal with that. So yeah, That's my rating. Light armor, on paper, is slightly better than heavy armor. Don't go crazy investing into the perks for either. There's cooler stuff elsewhere. That's that. That's the ruling for now. Okay. Okay. Uh, we should do a little recap at this point. We're about halfway through. We can see on the chart right now, we've actually got a lot of stuff that we're saying is A. A skills, super valid, they're powerful, you can do them, they're not like some weird niche thing like illusion and blocking down in C. B, we're calling, this stuff, it's middle of the road. If you like it, do it. It has some use, but it's not, totally overpowered. Alchemy is still the king of all these skills. Alchemy, never going to be surpassed. But we've got something awkward coming up now that we need to talk about. And that's this guy. This guy is called lockpicking. And lockpicking is going immediately into D. And it will never, ever be released from this rating. Lockpicking is the most useless skill in Skyrim by a country mile. It's not even close. This is something that people have talked about this before. There are other videos. If you watch a lot of Skyrim content, I'm sure you've heard people talk about this before. Lockpicking and the lockpicking skill tree are pointless. Do not waste your perk points investing one perk point into this tree. This shouldn't have been a skill tree, and I'm sorry that we go so hard about this, but to the people who worked on this, it's tough. It's really, really tough, and I'm sorry that it's gotten so much criticism, but this shouldn't have been a skill tree. Don't waste your time. Don't invest into it. Not once, not one perk point. Do not. There is a very, very simple, normal, practical workaround which eliminates the need for any perk points to ever be put into this skill tree. And that's just get a ton of lockpicks. Lockpicks, they don't weigh anything. They're super cheap. You find them everywhere. Once you have get 100 lockpicks, that is all you need for the entire game. What are they called? The novice, apprentice, and adept level locks. Super easy. They're super easy. Or whatever, they're not called like that. No, you messed that up. Lockpicking really only gets difficult at the two higher difficulties, expert and master. And even expert mightn't be that difficult sometimes. Depending on if you're playing survival mode and you're freezing cold or something, maybe it's a bit of a challenge. But honestly, if you have enough lockpicks and you're determined to pick a lock, you will pick the lock. Just avoid this. This is the black sheep of the family. Don't listen to what they say. Don't invest in their businesses. Don't give them emotional support. They're trouble. They just want to suck away the perk points from your other skill trees that can give you super powerful stuff. And instead you're going to be taking up literally the worst set of perks maybe in any game ever. I'm sorry again. To the people who worked on this and made this, I'm sorry, but oh my god, this thing is pointless. Okay, we're going to move on now because it's just going to be, I am going to start ranting about this now. Lockpicking is useless. Write it down. Remember it. Do not ever waste your perk points. That's lockpicking. Sorry to the team at Bethesda, the people who worked on this. It is a travesty. Okay, next skill is one-handed. And I am going to put one-handed into A. There are maybe some people surprised that this would be A, but to clarify why I'm putting this into A, one-handed is one of the most useful skills. It's also one of the most versatile skills. The skill tree, not great. You could take it or leave it. It will make you stronger with one-handed. The extra, the more advanced perks, not that interesting. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that this is probably the most versatile skill in the game. Because you just put a one-handed weapon in one of your hands, and then in your other hand, you can have a shield, you can have a spell, you can have another one-handed weapon. This skill works the best with most of the other skills more than any other skill. It's the all-rounder. One-handed is the definite all-rounder, also incredibly useful. It is how most people do combat in the game if they're not a stealth archer, I am going to say. Again, is the skill tree great? It's not amazing. There's nothing to really write home about in the skill tree. It's just a pure utility. And the fact that you can use your fists, you can pick up a fork. Anything that goes in your hand can become a one-handed weapon. And I mean, even if you're not a super high combat person, or if you want to be like a really dedicated mage or magic user, or a thief, are you really going to tell me that you're not going to at least carry a little knife with you? Like one of the most essential pieces of gear that you can have for any build. For any build, it doesn't matter if it's a thief, a mage, a warrior. You've at least got to have a little knife with you at all times. One-handed is the skill tree for the little knife. You can poison people, you can... It fits in so many extra ways with so many extra skills. It's strong enough in combat, it's fast, it does damage, it does melee damage, we're not doing any range damage, but you can put a ranged destruction spell in your other hand. You've got a ranged weapon and a melee weapon in one setup. You can have restoration in your other hand. You can just run around like crazy. For versatility, one-handed is the skill. So it's going in A. It has to go in A. Okay, next up we have restoration. Restoration is a really, really useful magic skill. And I'm going to do something here which maybe this is a bit controversial, but I'm pretty sure if you think it out, it will make sense. Restoration is going S tier. Restoration is S tier because you can play 95% of the game with just restoration. There are a handful of missions and quests and places you can't go with a follower, but as long as you have a follower, you could entirely focus on restoration and actually play through the entire game by healing yourself and whoever is fighting for you, essentially. So for that purpose, it's overpowered, it's S tier. The skill tree is also full of really good perks. So, regenerating your magicka faster, being able to restore your stamina with restoration spells, being able to heal yourself more so you actually survive, healing all of your damage once per day when it looks like you're about to die. The restoration skill tree is full of goodies, lots of cool perks that you can get there without having to invest in an entire crazy tree of skill perks. It's pretty well set up. Restoration, I'm going to put it S. I think it has to go in S because it is secretly an overpowered skill. Basically, you can play the entire game with just restoration, or with 99% of the skills you use is just restoration. Overpowered, good skill tree, really useful. It's going in S. It's also really good at the start of the game. So restoration, S tier, along with alchemy. And I mean, those two together, if you look at them right there, they both do one simple thing, which is that they help you to survive more of the game. And that's really What more can you ask for other than that? So there we go. Restoration, I'm making it an S tier. Maybe it's A tier. Maybe it's A tier, but for the sake of this list and the fact that it's so useful, it's so versatile. Like every single build type can use restoration. It has to go S for me. I'm making restoration S tier. Okay, next up we have one which I looked at some of the other tier lists on tiermaker.com, and I'm seeing a lot of people are putting this as S. And I'm gonna do something different, which is I'm gonna put it in B. I'm putting it in B because in comparison to the two other major crafting skills, which are enchanting and alchemy, smithing is not as good. It also has, the problem along with heavy armor and light armor, which is that actually the main benefit of this skill tree is aesthetic. Getting to be able to make armor that you want to make and wear. It is a great skill. You can improve your armor, you can improve your weapons. The things that go against it are, it's very resource intensive. It's very grindy in comparison to a lot of skills. And it's not as powerful as the other crafting skills. That's why it's going in B. It can't be on the same as enchanting or alchemy. That for me is the definitive order for our crafting skills. Let me move this here so we can see. We've got alchemy, enchanting, smithing. That's basically the order. It's not as bad as enchanting to get into in the beginning. In the beginning, it seems pretty good. Like you just need to get like leather, get some iron ore. You can start making stuff, whatever. But you need to make a ton of stuff. Like if you want to get to level 100 smithing, you have to make tons of stuff. Like way more stuff than you need and probably want in some playthroughs. I definitely have encountered that, where you think, okay, let's get smithing to 100, and this is the issue. At 100 smithing, we unlock dragon armor, dragon plate armor. You always want to do that just because it's a unique special armor in the game. No one else has it. But honestly, the effort that it takes to get to 100, at this point, I'm moving away from it. I'm not going to bother. The real best skill in smithing comes at level 60, which is the arcane blacksmith, which just means that you get to smith on, you get to improve enchanted weapons and armor. That's good, but that's at level 60. You don't is it worth it to do the last 40 skill points? I kind of don't think so anymore. And the other fact of the matter is that you can buy armor types. You can find them on enemies in the world and loot more powerful armor from people. So in theory, it seems like the best practice is I'm going to make all my stuff and I'm going to improve it myself. There are options to work around that. And yeah, it's B. I don't hate smithing. I really like smithing. But if we're being realistic and we're doing an objective comparison, I would rather have alchemy and enchanting. If someone said to me, pick two of the three, I would pick alchemy and enchanting immediately. Without question. Because even if I just have a set of leather armor, what I'm able to do with alchemy and enchanting to improve that leather armor could literally surpass what you can do with smithing. So that's my thought process. I get the feeling this one will freak people out a bit from looking at other tier lists. I was really surprised. Well, I wasn't really surprised. People love smithing in Skyrim. The actual fact of the matter is though is that it's not as powerful as some of these other skills. And the range of the range of benefit from these other A-list skills is a lot higher than smithing. One-handed, you get way more use from one-handed in reality. Same with light armor. Conjuration, it's the triple threat. bows, crossbows, you're doing range damage, you're even doing melee damage to a certain extent. You know, all of these skills have enough to them to where you go like, yeah, that's legit, that's valid. It's more powerful than the rest. Smithing, it can be fun, it can also be really grindy. Is it worth it to do the full thing? Questionable. It can be questionable sometimes. So it's B. It's B. Alright then. 3 left. Okay. Okay. Sneak. Sneak is either A tier or S tier. And I think I'm gonna put it into A tier. I think that's about as far as it goes. Sneak can make a lot of other stuff really powerful. Really powerful. It's absolutely essential if you're going to be a stealth archer or an assassin type build. If you're a mage or a warrior, sneak's not that important, so it doesn't get into S. It doesn't have the universal benefit of alchemy or restoration. It's still really, really powerful. It's probably, if we put it there next to enchanting, yeah, it's about that powerful. The skill tree is good. One of the things that I really like in the skill tree that like should probably just be in the game is the silent roll. The silent roll is excellent. The multipliers on damage for sneaking are excellent. It's a fantastic skill tree, which makes up for the lack of versatility. It's really for a couple of different build types. Other than that, it's kind of just for fun. But I mean, can be. And I mean, it's right there beside archery. Sneak and archery together, S tier. Definitely S tier. But we're doing it individual basis. Sneak is A tier. Even with those super powerful multipliers and the cool stuff in the skill tree, because again, you might not sneak one time in a playthrough. You can do that. Like you can play and never sneak once and be absolutely fine. For that reason, it's A and not S. It's very close to S. It might even be closer than enchanting because it's got a better skill tree. It's not as versatile though. So I'm putting it in A. Probably some people will hate that. They'll say it's definitely S. The thing I have to say is that really, genuinely, there are a lot of character builds where you wouldn't sneak. And so it can't be S. Pretty tough. Probably being pretty tough, but that's the point. We want to really I want to get it as accurate as possible. That's what I can do. Okay. Alright, second to last skill for the tier list is speech. And I'm going to put speech, I'm going to put it into B. I'm putting it into B, and it's not easy because it could be C, but we're going to put it in B. In that it's a common skill. You are going to use this. Like in very few playthroughs will you not use the speech skill for buying and selling. There's also the persuasion check element of speech, which is bordering on lockpicking. It's not important. But buying and selling and the merchant-based perks are pretty cool. They're pretty cool, and they can also open up the game a lot in terms of who you talk to, who you deal with, who you do business with. It can also eliminate the need to do the Thieves Guild quests in order to get access to fences, people you can sell stolen items to. And that's pretty cool. It's basically the Walter White skill tree. You know, if you want to be Breaking Bad, then the left hand side of the speech skill tree is exactly for you. It's getting points here for having a cool skill tree. It's pretty useful. I mean, it's pretty versatile. It doesn't block you out or steal your attention away from any other skills. You also, I mean, at the same time, I wouldn't go crazy investing my perk points into speech either. I usually do 3. I do the first level of like improving your speech, whatever that's called. I do a lore because I have to get to the merchant perk. Normally, I always do the merchant perk. For me, and this tends to split people down the middle. I think it adds to immersion because I end up talking to more people. Some people don't like it because they think that selling a potion to a blacksmith is weird. Personally, I don't think it's weird at all. I think in a barter economy, it makes a lot more sense that everybody is trading all kinds of stuff with people all the time. I mean, if you go into the houses of people and look around, almost everyone in Skyrim has stolen stuff in their houses. So this whole idea that there's this strict market regulation, it annoys me. If it was up to me, the merchant perk would just be standard, to be honest. So yeah, if you need to make money, the speech skill tree will help you out. It works. This is a working skill tree in comparison to lockpicking. Like the speech skill tree definitely works. Half of it is busted. The other half is actually pretty cool. But I mean, it's nowhere near as powerful as anything above it. It's not as niche as anything below it. So it's going into B. I hope that doesn't drive people too crazy, because I've seen some people, you know, have it down in D even. But for me, it's more valid than people give it credit for. It should be B. It's a common skill. That's where I'm putting it. Okay, last one. Last one is two-handed, and two-handed is gonna go in. It's gonna go in B. Two-handed goes in B, which is on par with destruction, which I think is pretty fair. Not as good as one-handed. Not as good as one-handed, because you need to use both hands. Literally that simple. So lacks the versatility that comes with one-handed. It's a fairly similar skill tree to one-handed in that, you know, your axe or whatever does more damage. It's not a life-changing skill tree to go into. But again, it's not a niche skill. You know, doing a bit of two-handed, you know, having a two-handed weapon or having bound battle axe so you can summon a two-handed weapon. Yeah, that can actually come in handy at certain points in a playthrough. Sometimes you're not going to want to do archery or destruction magic or one-handed skills. Sometimes you just, you know, like get a warhammer out and bash something. So it's pretty cool like that. It lacks the versatility of one-handed. It also only does melee damage, you know. Archery also lacks the versatility of one-handed, but it does ranged and melee damage. Two-handed, strictly melee damage. You can block. You can block as well. The block's not as effective as a shield. But yeah, it's middle of the road. If you decide that your character is going to be a two-handed person, they're just going to rock, like, what's the other thing? We've got hammers, battle axes, the great swords. You might just decide, I want to rock a great sword. Again, like, aesthetic choice. If you decide, I just want to rock a great sword, totally valid, but it is neither overpowered or underpowered. You get your bang for your buck, and that's it. So yeah, not much else to add on two-handed as the last skill. I think if we look at all the skills, we can see that, like, it's a pretty even, it's almost an even distribution. Remember saying, like, there's really good skills. Most of the skills are about the same, but there's say, like, these skills are a bit more powerful or versatile than these skills, which are totally valid, cool skills. Like, you could use all of those skills in a playthrough, no problem. Whereas some skills, these three, they're a little bit niche. They depend on whatever build you're working on. And I mean lockpicking, just the one that no one likes, we should all ignore and forget about. So that's what we're doing today. That's the tier list finished. I hope this makes sense. And for the rest of the video, let's look at very quickly, I'm gonna go through some other builds and just throw up what's the best for them, so you can see how much this changes in comparison, depending on how you make your build. But for me, objectively, pound for pound, toe to toe, this is how I'm stacking up all the skills in Skyrim. Just like that. If you hate it, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but if you hate it, yeah, that's up to you. But if you really want to be OP versus not OP, check this out. This should help you. Alright, so what if we wanted to be a stealth archer? What if you actually wanted to be a stealth archer by choice instead of being forced into it by the game? How do we change this? What needs to get rearranged? Well, we can jump in and start doing it straight away, which is that obviously archery has to be up there, sneak has to be up there. Maybe restoration is going to come down. If you're holding a bow or a crossbow, you don't really have a spare hand to do much restoration. So for those purposes, it's going to come down a bit. Light armor is definitely going to be your choice. Let's see, what else is here that needs to be changed? Two-handed, no. If it's stealth archer, you're not going to do any two-handed stuff. You're not going to block. You might actually do some illusion magic. So illusion for a stealth archer could be possible. Pickpocket, I'm going to leave it where it is. Heavy armor, absolutely not. So we see these warrior skills are coming down now, right now. They can go down here. One-handed for a stealth archer, still pretty important. I mean, sometimes you're going to need to do something different, and having a little knife, as I was talking about earlier, is usually the solution. Conjuration, probably not going to care that much about conjuration. Yeah, that's just facts. So I mean, yeah, too loud. Conjuration way too loud if you're a stealth archer. So I mean, look at that now as a potential, build for a stealth archer. You have to have archery. You have to have sneak. Light armor as well, essential. Alchemy, yeah, you're going to depend on alchemy for restoring your health, because you're not going to have restoration spells in either of your hands. You're going to have a bow, so that goes there. Enchanting, yeah, having an enchanted bow, still super powerful. Having enchanted gear that makes you make you sneak and go undetected can be achieved with enchanting, so you're going to want that. Maybe you're going to do a bit of illusion magic, mess with people from the shadows, obviously very cool stuff. Anytime we dip into the illusion magic, very, very cool stuff. One-handed and restoration as backups. You probably need to have these skills. Do you need to be good at smithing? Nah, not really. Will alteration help you? Not really. The magic resistance part maybe, but the rest of it, pretty noisy. And I mean, if you're casting iron flesh on yourself, you're going to be sparkling and stuff. The way you light up a bit when you have your alteration spell on. So that's not going to be helpful. Speech, sure, yeah, it's still middle of the road. Destruction magic, actually that could be lower. I mean, you're probably not going to be doing that much destruction magic. Conjuration. Bound bow was pretty good. You're still going to want a soul trap to enchant your armor. So I mean, that all has to work still. That's pretty decent. So, as soon as we pick up a build type the rankings for everything like immediately changes. That's my fast ranking for a stealth archer. What if we want to be a destruction mage? This would be totally different, right? So we would immediately put destruction up top. Archery probably doesn't matter at all anymore. Sneaking, yeah, not such a big deal. The whole idea, if you're going to be a destruction mage, surely is that you just get to like walk in and cause chaos. Alchemy, you definitely still want alchemy. You want to be able to boost up, you want to, restore your health, your magicka, so you can keep firing off in battle. So that's important. Enchanting is probably now becomes S tier. Because you want to have your robes or whatever armor you pick, you want to have it enchanted so you discount how much magicka you use, like your destruction magicka basically. If you have a 10% cost reduction for destruction magic, you can put that on 6 pieces of gear and suddenly you have a 60% reduction. So enchanting super important for this. Restoration also super important. Light armor, not such a big deal. I mean, probably you'll wear some boots. Probably you'll wear maybe, alright, probably a pair of bracers or something. Like you need to put something on your hands. But if you're going pure destruction mage, like you want to be rocking robes, and that's where like alteration definitely a secondary skill if you're a destruction mage. Protect yourself. You can still give yourself like a little base bit of armor with alteration if you're a destruction mage. Conjuration also becomes more powerful. If you're going into combat and you have a lot of people to fight, having a flame atronach, beside you, great choice. So I mean, whatever build we choose, this is all going to rock around a bit. One-handed, yeah, having a little knife, again. You can't stress the importance of having a little knife. Definitely cool if you're doing destruction magic. Maybe less interesting in, illusion magic. Illusion magic, destruction magic, sort of different classes of like evil stuff, I guess. My bet is like, if I'm going destruction mage, I'm probably not doing much illusion magic, let's put it that way. And yeah, I mean, what else is there? I mean, that already is that's a decent setup for being a destruction mage. You're not going to be doing two-handed. Heavy armor, I mean, maybe in the beginning, but not in the end. You're not going to be blocking. Pickpocketing, probably not. Probably you go and do your combat and you loot. Archery, again, unnecessary. You can do ranged and melee combat with your destruction magic. And then just on top of that, your sneak is, I mean, if you're a destruction mage, you're going to be loud. Like, you're not going to have much stealth. So sneak goes from being S or A tier straight down to C tier. And yeah, I mean, that's very quickly you can see there's a whole new setup here for what you want to do if you're a destruction mage. Alright, well, like, let's say, so that's stealth archer, destruction mage. What if you want to be a warrior? What if you want to do like sword and board? You would have to do like one-handed would go straight up here. Block would come from C up to S. If you're doing sword and board, you have to have a shield. Like, it's non-negotiable. Destruction magic you probably don't care about. Probably you want heavy armor. Like, you're going to be getting into it. You're going to be getting up close to people. Possibly you want that heavy armor. Maybe you decide that like light armor and a shield together will make up for your defense. You could also do it that way. What else would be needed for sword and board? Two-handed, I mean, you would still probably carry, or maybe you wouldn't. You'd have a lot of gear, but you would need archery. So I mean, if you're going sword and board, that's fine for your melee activity, but for ranged combat, you need to have you need to have your bow. What else would be good? What would suck? Illusion magic, no. Speech, yeah, speech stays in B. Maybe smithing becomes more important. We would also have to pick, maybe alchemy or restoration. Probably restoration, because you're carrying a sword and a shield. You're not going to be carrying as much alchemy gear. You would still want to enchant all of your gear, I'd imagine. Having powerful enchantments is always cool. You're always going to want like something enchanted. But it's just about getting the balance between what works and what doesn't. These magic skills probably get demoted if you're doing sword and board. It shouldn't be that magical. Like restoration, enchanting, these probably shouldn't both be up here. It's probably more like that, Probably those four. Like you could do sword and board with just these four. Long time since I've played sword and board, but it's a classic play style. Really great in the beginning, really great in the beginning. Typically, maybe you end up away from it later on in your playthrough, but if you were going to do a sword and board playthrough, it could be something like that, The light armor and the shield, you could switch that out for just heavy armor, but it's sword and board. You gotta have a board to do sword and board. So there's another example of what you could. The next way, or how we could change this again is like, let's get another version of this up. What if you wanted to go like pure two-handed tank? You'd have to have two-handed, you'd have to have block. I mean, go all in with heavy armor, why not? You still need a bow as a secondary skill for your ranged attacks. You have to do smithing, like you gotta have class armor. So I mean, that really comes down here at that point. Yeah, enchanting would still be pretty important. Alchemy to heal yourself, so I mean, you've got like the trifecta here of restoration and protection, along with your core skills. So I mean, that would instantly, you've got a two-handed weapon which can block. You're going to wear heavy armor because you're not carrying the shield this time. You're blocking with your two-handed weapon. Restoration, still amazing, still going to help you in between combat. Archery is going to help with your ranged combat. Smithing is going to become really important along with your other crafting skills right here. Yeah, because you're not doing any magic really. These skills become downgraded at this point. Also, like all these thief skills become downgraded. You just need to focus on the core skills of your two-handed tank build. So I mean, again, we're seeing a big change up. The only thing that doesn't really change that much is lockpicking is always D. I think speech is always B because of its function in the game. And then it's a mix-up between what are you definitely going to do, what are secondary skills that will support these, and then you end up with a bunch that are just sort of left out because as I explained in the beginning, you can't do everything. You always have to demote some skills. So that for me, that's a pretty solid tier list if you're doing two-handed tank. Let's have a look and see what other build types we can go through quickly. Okay, we're going to look at one quickly now, which is like a hybrid build, which is the spell sword. So we're going to look at the spell sword. Spell sword is like a hybrid type build, and what you do is you take your one-handed, you get a sword, or it can be an axe, or a mace, and then you put a destruction spell in your other hand. You could put a conjuration spell in there. You could use alteration to give yourself more protection. Maybe you don't carry a bow because you can do ranged attacks with your destruction magic. What else would you do? Maybe not as much blocking, maybe a bit, yeah, who knows. Two-handed, no. Archery, we downgrade. What else is here that maybe shouldn't be here? Enchanting should be there, yeah. Maybe you put that down there again. It'd be more important to have to focus into a group of skills like this where you've got your alchemy, you've got your enchanting. You're using a little bit of you're doing your alteration and your conjuration before battle or combat, then you're using your destruction magic, then you're using your restoration magic afterwards to restore yourself. And you've still got a supply of potions for what you really need if you want to improve your destruction magic, your conjuration spells, if you want to make yourself better one-handed, you can do all that still with potions. So that's very different to the initial pound for pound ranking that we had. If we look at our pound for pound ranking, there's there's this distribution. It's pretty clear, I think, in a lot of places why things are where they are. But if you're going for a spell sword, you're going boom, you're immediately taking one-handed destruction. Like, you have to invest into these things to effectively do a spell sword character build. So yeah, I feel pretty confident, just as doing that in 2 seconds, that would be a pretty decent spell sword. Probably that's too high up. And yeah, that's it.